Welcome to Bible Answers Now. Have you ever wondered why some Christians ignore the Fourth Commandment? It's a question that has puzzled many, especially since it stands out in the Ten Commandments, which are often seen as a moral foundation for Christians. But why does the command to keep the Sabbath seem to be overlooked by so many, even though the other 9 commandments are upheld? Let's explore this together and dive into what Scripture really says about the Fourth Commandment. Let's begin with the command itself. Exodus 20, verse 8-11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work. This command was given to the Israelites as a day of rest, specifically to honor God. It's clear. God commands us to rest on the 7th day, to set it apart from all other days, and dedicate it to Him. The Sabbath is a sign of the Creator's authority over time itself, as He rested on the 7th day after creating the world. But why is this so important for us today? Well, in Isaiah 58, 13-14, God calls us to call the Sabbath a delight and honor it. It's more than just a command. It's an invitation to rest, refresh, and deepen our relationship with Him. The Sabbath isn't just a day off. It's a holy day meant to draw us closer to God, where we can pause and reconnect, free from the distractions of daily life. But you might be asking, why do some Christians not follow this command? The answer might be surprising. In Matthew 5, verse 17, Jesus said, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Jesus made it clear that He didn't dismiss the Old Testament commandments. So the question remains, why do some choose to ignore the Sabbath? The answer often lies in tradition. Many Christians follow the traditions of man, not always realizing how those traditions have influenced their understanding of Scripture. The Catholic Church, for instance, openly acknowledges that it changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday in the early centuries after Christ. Yet, the Bible itself never commands this change. This shift was made by church leaders, and over time, it became the norm. But just because something has become a tradition doesn't mean it's directly aligned with what Scripture commands. And in the early Christian church, many still honored the Sabbath on Saturday, even as Sunday became known as the Lord's Day to commemorate Jesus' resurrection. Over time, however, some Protestant denominations abandoned Sabbath keeping altogether, citing a variety of reasons, some theological, others cultural. But this isn't a biblical justification. It's a historical shift away from the very heart of the Fourth Commandment. In Mark 2:27, Jesus said, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath." This is crucial. The Sabbath isn't just a rule to follow, it's a gift. It's meant to bless us, giving us a time to pause and reflect on God's goodness, to find rest in Him, and to allow our spiritual lives to be renewed. When we ignore the Sabbath, we miss out on the joy and peace that God intended for us to experience. So why do some Christians ignore it? It often boils down to a lack of understanding or an adherence to traditions that have strayed from biblical teaching. But the Bible urges us to keep the Sabbath holy, not out of obligation, but as an act of worship and trust in God's provision. In a world that is constantly moving, the Sabbath calls us to slow down, to rest, and to remember that God is in control. As we reflect on this, I invite you to consider the beauty of the Sabbath in your own life. Take a moment today to think about how you can make space for God. Could you set aside one day a week to rest from your normal work and dedicate it to honoring Him? Maybe it's through prayer, through reflection on His Word, or through spending time with loved ones. Whatever it looks like, the Sabbath is a gift to help us deepen our relationship with the Creator. Thank you for joining us today on Bible Answers Now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you keep the Sabbath in your life? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe for more answers from the Bible. Don't forget to share this video with someone who might be wrestling with this question. May God bless you and your loved ones as you seek to honor Him with your time.